see you again. How are you this morning? That's great. Okay, children, today we will have a math lesson. And for our math lesson today, we're still learning about time. And we're learning about half past. So are you ready for learning the time? Okay, now everybody sit nicely and listen carefully.
Welcome back. Today we are going to learn about time. Before we can learn how to tell the time, we need to look at the different parts of the clock. The part of the clock where the numbers are is called the face of the clock, just like we have a face. Then you get the different hands of the clock. The long hand of the clock is called the minute hand. It takes a whole hour to move all the way around the clock. Then you get the shorter hand. This is known as the hour hand. It moves a lot slower than the minute hand. It shows us what hour we are in. Now that we know the different parts of the clock, we can start telling the time. Whenever the long hand is pointing to the 12, it tells us it's o'clock. The short hand tells us what hour we are in. This short hand is pointing to the 2, so this time reads 2 o'clock. Why don't you try one on your own? Have a look at this clock carefully. The long hand is pointing on the 12, and have a close look at what hour the short hand is pointing to. Let's see how you did. The long hand is pointing to the 12, which tells us that it is o'clock. And the short hand is pointing to the 5. So this time reads 5 o'clock. Well done. Let's try one more. Have a look at these hands carefully. What time does this clock show? Let's see how you did. The long hand is pointing to the 12. So we know that it is o'clock. The short hand is pointing to the 8, so this means that the time reads 8 o'clock. Good job! Let's have a look at something new. What happens when the long hand is now pointing to the 6? This means that the long hand is moved halfway around the clock. So this is known as half past. The short hand still tells us what hour we are in. You can see this hour hand is between the 9 and the 10 because it's making its way towards 10 o'clock. This time reads half past 9. Now it's your turn. What time does this clock read? Pay careful attention to where the long and the short hand are pointing. Let's see how you did. The long hand is pointing to the 6, so we know that it is half past. The short hand is in between the 1 and the 2. This means it is just past 1 o'clock. So the time reads half past 1. Good job. Let's try one more. What time does this clock read? The long hand is pointing to the 6, so we know that it is half past. The short hand is in between the 4 and the 5. This means it is just past 4 o'clock. The time reads half past 4. Good job! Awesome job! Now you know how to tell the time when it's half past and when it's o'clock. Until next time, have fun telling the time.